So talking about a virtual networks team, it is exact replica of your physical networks. Whatever you have in your on-premises infrastructure like switches, routers, gateways, your firewalls, every single thing you can include in your virtual networks. Right now, we would be talking about how we can build in a virtual infrastructure where we can bring in potentially two virtual machines and get them connected to that directly with the help of a switch into a single Azure region. As well as down the line, I will also show you today how we can get connected to what I call it as across region or inter-site or inter-region connectivity. We would be doing both of this. So quickly talking about it, logical representation of your own network, even though it is a cloud computing platform, which is provided by a cloud provider like Azure, it gives you full flexibility to design your own network. You can decide what IP address range you want. You can decide what subnet mask you want to use. All those things you can decide and you can create your own network. Okay. So it's going to have a dedicated private cloud only virtual networks. You are going to get your own cloud only private networks. That's one thing. And you can even extend this network very securely to your on-premises data center. Okay. Let's say, for example, if this is my virtual network, I can extend this securely to my on-premises infrastructure. As we know, these days, the trend is of hybrid infrastructure, how we can connect our cloud computers, whatever we are having resources on cloud, to our on-premises. Okay, most of us do have a myth or an understanding that cloud computing can be accessed only via internet. If you don't have internet access, no cloud computing access. Or it is, since it is accessed via internet, it is not very secure. Not really true. You can even get your virtual networks or virtual infrastructure on the cloud connected with a dedicated line to your on-premises network with what we call it as express route. And with the help of express route, I can get connected, or even virtual LANs. Okay, so either I can use not virtual LANs, VPNs. Sorry, something's wrong with my mind. So I virtual LANs with VPNs, right? So VPNs you can get connected, or even express route with which you can get connected from your on-premises to the cloud. Anyway, that is not our topic right now, but my topic is we can get the connection established between on-prem and the cloud infrastructure. Okay, so you can enable hybrid cloud scenarios as well. So you can have your on-premises as well as cloud-based infrastructure. If you're creating a virtual network, right, team, a couple of things you need to consider while you're creating virtual networks. You can create virtual networks anytime. It is definitely recommended to go ahead and create your virtual networks much ahead in time of when you're planning to create your virtual machines and other resources which you want to add into this particular virtual network. Okay, that's one thing. And second thing is add virtual networks when you create a virtual machine. Whenever you're creating a VM, that time also you can add virtual network. Something which I would not recommend to do it because that will create a lot of confusion down the line. Of course, initially before you start designing your network, you need to analyze your infrastructure on premises as well as if you're having your existence in any other cloud platform or even on Azure, if you already have your virtual networks which are already existing, then you need to make sure you design and select a range of private IP addresses which are not already existing in your entire infrastructure. I'll tell you why down the line, but this is important team. You got to make sure you're not going to have two same network identities within your infrastructures. And those who are network engineers, they know why it is like this. Okay, need to define the address space and at least one subnet. Here on cloud team, it is slightly different. How it is slightly different, I'll tell you. So on premises, let's say, for example, if I want, I will just design my network. Okay, I will say I want to get into a network where I would potentially use 10 dot, sorry, I'll go for, yeah, 10.0.0.0 network with slash 24. Let's say, for example, if I go with this on premises, no problem, works fabulously. On the cloud, what I have to do is I would potentially select a larger subnet, larger network, possibly /16 or /8 or /18, whatever of my comfort. I would always prefer to choose /16 to get started off with. Now, this particular virtual network has got a subset, right? Those who are from networking background, they will understand it. Those who are not, I would recommend you to refresh or look into a concepts of IP addressing and subnetting. Okay, you can look into these concepts. They are very easy, no rocket science. And team, those who are completely freshers and those who are joining my sessions as completely freshers with zero knowledge on any of the background of infrastructure, I would potentially design another course which will take you from completely scratch to a next level of architecture level. Okay, but I can't promise you right now, but I'm planning for it. Okay, let's see if we can do that. Okay, so right now let me go ahead and create a subset of this particular IP address, which I would potentially go for 10.0.0.0/24. So this is going to be a network, okay, which I would go for, and I would create this as my subnet of my existing network, and I would possibly label it as per my requirement. I would potentially call it as my production subnet or my fast subnet or my test device subnet, whatever subnet I want to keep within this particular VNet. Potentially I keep this particular VNet as VNet for, I can possibly go for VNet for, see here, VNet for, I can possibly keep it like, let's say, for example, uh, a specific region I can take it as East US region. I'll go for, okay, that's where I can go it for, right? So something like this, inside that I can create multiple subnets or East US 1 or 2 specific numbers I can use so that I do understand where exactly I'm keeping this particular subnet. Okay, something like this I can design team. Okay, so you can add your virtual networks and need to define address spaces and at least one subnet. That is what I was talking about here. So I design my virtual network and one subnet inside it. Potentially I call it as production subnet. Okay, and be careful with overlapping addresses. I already discussed this particular point. I told you, make sure within your entire infrastructure, no two addresses are overlapping. Somebody can ask me, Abid, can I go ahead and still configure overlapping IP addresses? I would say yes, you can do it, but something not recommended to do it. Okay, something which is not recommended to do it, because down the line you would say, okay, I'm not going to get these two networks connected any which way out. I would still say, please don't do that. Who knows, down the line you might need them to be in the same network. Okay, team. So I'll come back to this particular slide, but before this, let me know if you have any questions.